Hello, and welcome to Is It Better Than Class? Today, I'm gonna be taking a look at Mindgame, because you guys voted for it. So the story starts off in space, where we see this asteroid, and then we sort of go inside the asteroid, and we see this prison cell, and then a Sontaran appears out of nowhere, and it's quite confused, and it starts screaming, and threatening whoever put him there. But then we see this mysterious creature, werewolf-like creature, move some controls around and it sort of stuns the Sontaran. And then a Draconian appears, and the Sontaran's like, "Oh, you are my enemy. You brought me here." And the Draconian's like, "No, no, 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 don't you get it? We were brought here by the same person." And the Sontaran's like, I guess so." And then this human appears, who's played by Sophie Aldred. It turns out she's a mercenary, and they're all a bit confused as to why they're there.
What's going on? Why have I been brought here?
Welcome. I must apologize for my Sontaran friend here. His manners leave a lot to be desired.
You're a Draconian, aren't you? A Sontaran? A Draconian? And me. Sounds like the beginning of a really bad joke.
I fear it may be a very bad joke indeed.
And then the Sontaran and Draconian are a bit misogynistic to the human, and she's like, "Oh, well, that's not very nice." And they're like, "No, no, but like women are stupid or whatever." And then they talk a bit about glory, and Ace is like, "What with the human?" Is like, "Oh, glory is a bit silly, isn't it? I'm a mercenary. I fight so I can get money, which is nice." And they're like, "Huh, that's ridiculous." And the Sontaran's like, "Oh, I want to die in battle. That would be so glorious." And the human's like, "Oh, that's ridiculous." And they sort of discuss how ridiculous each other are for a bit. But after a bit, they realize that they're all in the same boat. And the Sontaran's still a bit silly, but the Draconian and human do sort of realize what's going on. And then they decide that they all need a bit of rest, and it's been a long day, so they sort of go to sleep. And the werewolf creature's like, "You must fight each other." And then when they wake up, they're all sort of a bit mad at each other at first, but then they're like, "Wait, I heard some voices. We've probably been hypnotized or something." And then the voice, the werewolf, is like, "Oh no, they're too strong. Well, now for the final test then." And it sort of reveals itself to them, and it's like, "Hey, um, it would be kind of cool if you started fighting or something. That would be nice of you." And then the Sontaran is like, "I mean, if it means that I can live, I guess I'll kill them." And then the human and the Draconian are like, "Oh no, but if you do that, we'll team up against you." Ha! And then the Sontaran's like, "Oh, okay, that's not a very good idea then. No, no, I won't. I won't fight."
That is your final decision? You will not fight?
We fight for our own races, or in the case of the human, for her employers. There may be a time when we will fight each other, but we will not fight each other here and now at your command.
Then I must compel you.
What can you possibly threaten us with that's worse than death?
And then the werewolf is like, "Well, if you won't fight, I'll expose you to pain and stuff." And then they're all like, "Well, yeah, all right, I'm sure we'll manage that." And then they're like, after a bit of pain, they're like, "All right, we'll fight. This really hurts. Please, we'll fight. We'll kill each other." And then, well, it was like, "Ha, I thought so." And it teleports some knives down to them, and they're like, "All right, I guess we'll have to fight." So the Draconian wins the battle, and then the sort of werewolf comes down to sort of greet the Draconian and congratulate it, because it is the strongest species apparently. But the Sontaran human were pretending; they weren't actually dead. So they sort of, they just take the gun from the werewolf, and they're like, "Hey, now get us out of here," and stuff. And then the creature's like, "Well, this experiment has actually failed, and that this uh, asteroid thing is gonna self-destroy in a couple of minutes' time. So I'm sorry, but you're all gonna die, and I'm gonna teleport out of here." And the human's like, "Well, before you leave, I have a question." And then the werewolf's like, "Yeah, all right, what's that?" And the human sort of shoots it, and then it sort of teleports away.
Maybe that will discourage them from trying again.
Well done, human. So perish all our enemies.
A hollow victory, since we ourselves must perish.
What can we do?
Well, our departed friend got us here, didn't he? We must get ourselves out.
So the human comes to the conclusion that they can probably teleport themselves out of there. And they're like, well, I guess might as well try. And they manage to do that, and it's sort of implied that the human might be Ace. She mentions the professor, or someone called the professor, so she might be Ace or something. Anyway, they all lived happily ever after or whatever. And that's about it. That's it for Mindgame. So, is it better than Class? Yes, obviously. This is much better than Class. This is the best thing I've reviewed so far. It isn't amazing or anything, but it sort of feels like Doctor Who. And you can tell that this is written by sort of a Doctor Who writer, and you can tell it's written by Terrance Dicks. I mean, the Warlords are sort of mentioned. It's really highly implied that the werewolf is actually working for the Warlords. So, he loves his own continuity and stuff. No, this is much better than Class. I mean, unlike Class, it's genuinely enjoyable and it has some purpose. Even if the whole experiment thing is a bit stupid, even if the werewolf has an IQ of 10, it's still enjoyable and sort of well acted. The costumes look really nice. The effects itself, this is well done considering it's low budget. It knows what it is, and it accepts that, which I appreciate. I'll see you all next time for another episode of Is It Better Than Class? Remember to vote for what I should review next. Goodbye.